Hello all, Shadwell here, ready to talk about the next film in my collection, Spare Parts from 1979. It's the 30th film in the 50 Drama Movie Classics collection. It is directed by Rainer Erler and stars Jutta Spiegel and Wolf Roth. Although looking up info on this movie on the internet, it was a lot easier than most of the films in this 50-pack have been, mainly because it goes by the title that is on the disc sleeve. Even though its German original title is Fleisch, which is German for meat. And with titles like Meat and Spare Parts, you can kind of get a picture of what type of movie this is. And if not, when I mentioned it's a horror thriller, that should definitely put you on the right path. But if that still doesn't do it, Spare Parts is about a newlywed couple driving through New Mexico that stop in a cheap-as-fuck motel for the night, and after some fornicating shenanigans, an ambulance shows up to take the couple against their will at gunpoint. But they only get the husband. The wife escapes the ambulance drivers and into the aid of a trucker and his semi. For the rest of the film, they're on the trail to find just where the husband has been taken to and for what purpose. Although, again, with titles like Meat and Spare Parts, you can probably guess what the purpose is. This film is from 1979, and so it feels a lot like an early version of something like The Vanishing or Turistas, and if neither of those films ring a bell for you, you should really only track one of them down, and that's The Vanishing. Either the 1988 original or the 1993 remake is acceptable. They are both excellent films, but in truth I'm partial to the remake because it stars Kiefer Sutherland and he was Jack Bauer from 24, meaning I'll always have a little extra room for Kiefer Sutherland at the table. Spare Parts may nearly be 50 years old, but it still packs a punch watching it today. Granted, the third act gets a little wonky, but those first two acts are very solid and tense. It's just too bad that the presentation is so awful. At one point during some night sequences in the truck, somebody turned the brightness knob all the way to 11 so that we can see everything going on in the cab with a white tint. So at least they tried to right the ship, and I gotta give them a few points for that. This movie is a good ride and will have you hanging on with the writing. Again, for the first two acts for sure, but then the last act is a bit iffy. But it's mostly good, and that means it gets a mostly high grade of, let's say, B-. Yeah, B- sounds fair. Like I said, I really like the majority of Spare Parts, so with that out of the way, we move on tomorrow to Creed 2. See y'all then.